Hey now.
This is a certified hood classic.
That thing just like flashed like for not even a second. Is that what that just did?
Yeah, it was like really quick. Yeah, I saw that.
Case closed. Let's get drunk.
Catch me outside. How about that?
All rise, order in the court. It's throuple free today. Welcome back. We got a case
About a movie. Why
about
is that sounds like an adult film?
Yeah, like an adult film. I don't call porno
Movies. No,
You're Canadian. Who knows? You know.
I call it my 90 bad time.
I'm guessing this has something to do with some neighbors. They're all waving to us, by the way.
Yes, Shelly up there with the reverse Wilson.
Why is she all cut off like that? Reverse Wilson. I got that. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. For all the old people in the room.
Oh.
All right, so Creed, real quick rundown.
Yeah.
You see the couple here at the bottom over underneath the judge. They are basically at war with all three of these other people.
Oh God.
All three of them have TPOs.
Really?
They want a TPO against all of them, and they want one against them. So the judges gave them the option. Do y'all want to move forward, or do you want me to just tell everybody to settle down, or what? And they said, no, we want to move forward. So we're going to hear each one individually. We're going to go through all three TPOs, each one individually, and get a decision on all three.
Oh, wow.
So a little something different.
I like that.
And by the way, Mr. Taylor down here, or Tyler, depending on who you talk to, he's a police officer.
Oh. Well, good for him.
Humble brag.
Welcome, Double L. Making great choices here on this wild.
Oh, that is a beautiful November 1st decision.
That is.
Okay. Mr. Morones or Ms. Parker, tell me why you need a protection order against Ms. O'Neill.
Your Honor, we feel that we need a protection order against Ms. O'Neill for not only my safety, Sarah's safety, and our children's safety. The issue has been escalating for a while now to the point where no one can go outside of our house. Our children cannot even go outside and play. We've had rocks thrown at our house and our dog, and it's continuing the issue.
Okay, so let me, I specifically asked as to Ms. O'Neill. Tell me only what Ms. O'Neill has gotten. I get that there's all these family connections here, and I'm not going to lump one member of a family in with others. So specifically,
this isn't the first time that we've had somebody flex their work attire during court.
It seems to help sometimes.
We've had military, we've had cops do this before.
Yeah, it's and you wonder, are we trying to sway the judge? I saw a lot of people posting about snow.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Send me some in the mail.
Oh, did we have a breakup already?
What? I'm sorry to hear that.
If this court case wasn't so long, I'd ask more questions. But
that's for members only.
I'm sorry if that's the case, though.
I'm sorry. Condolences.
Ms. O'Neill, what is it that you two believe you need a protection order against Ms. O'Neill for?
Ms. O'Neill. So Shelly, I believe we need a protection order against Shelly because she is always antagonizing our children. She has thrown rocks toward our children. She has called our children names. Me and my children go outside and she flips me off right in front of my children. And I think it's very inappropriate for my children to continuously see that and that we have to keep going through that kind of harassment.
That old lady.
Okay. And Ms. O'Neill?
Well, although I knew they had two children, I didn't know what they were until after this paperwork was filed. I knew they had a little boy. I thought
Ms. O'Neill?
Yeah.
Ms. O'Neill, I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. Can you reposition your camera so I'm just seeing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's like
it's on
underneath a
the
desk
surface.
or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Right there is good.
She
Okay,
did
go
that on
ahead.
purpose,
Just
by
a
the way. You
second,
know
I
it.
have to get something.
I got that same shirt.
Okay.
It says "Nope, not today" on it.
I bet
it.
your breasts
got
look
it.
better than hers.
Slightly.
I knew they had the little boy because I've seen Sarah take him to and from school.
The boy.
I've never thrown rocks at their children. I've never talked to their children. In fact, until the Sunday that this all came about, I had never talked to Taylor or Sarah. When their dogs get out and come over to our house, I don't talk to them because there's an older gentleman that was there one time and he came and got them from our yard. But other than that, I've never talked to them.
Sure.
And I certainly don't throw rocks at children.
Generally, she could throw anything.
I guess the little girl, is it? I thought she was an infant, as in a tiny baby, because I've only seen Sarah carrying those car seat things you take to and from the car. And I've seen the little boy, but I've never spoken to any of them until I did, unfortunately, call Sarah a foul name on the day we met.
Nice to meet you, cunt.
Do you think that's how it worked?
Exactly how it went. Come on.
That's great. Donna, yeah, I maybe you're over on We Got a Case channel, not on the main channel, or vice versa. That's usually whenever somebody is green, typically, and they show up, they end up being on them.
Yeah. So yeah, we have 3 channels: Credence and Mikey. We got a case and we got a chase. It's just like We Got a Case, but with the H, and it's all about car chases.
Right. Welcome.
Hi.
And Ms. Parker, Mr. Morones, anything else as to Ms. O'Neill?
Can you say anything?
Just the previous statement before. The foul names are still continue. She yells them from her driveway. My daughter's not been in an infancy for quite a while. She's 3, almost 2.5. But the foul names haven't stopped in front of the children, and it's gross.
It's gross.
Well, and true.
She's constantly showing us her breasts.
Who, leather lashes or?
That's my understanding from reviewing the evidence that has been submitted. And I'll ask Mr. Morones and Ms. Parker to respond to this. Your immediate neighbors, it appears to me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if you count the jackpot, you know.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like I said, I've read what's been
I forget
filed,
about that one.
and I've seen
What's been as dead as golden slots in the last week and a half.
the parties has basically said, either in written documentation or on the videos that have been submitted, saying essentially, as I pointed out at the beginning, the same things about each of you. You know, everybody's back and forth, and I understand this is not a comfortable situation with you all as neighbors, and you know, your reactions or accusations about the other are adding to the discomfort that you feel. So, you know, I have a
Is
sense
this a colonoscopy? That discomfort that you're feeling, right?
specifically as to the request.
Yeah, shit's a little awkward between them. There's three
Three
right
other neighbors all surrounding their property on all sides. They're literally surrounded by these other people. No, it's not that. It's
no,
it's
that was funny.
it'd be like me say, by the way, poor sports.
Don't forget about that channel.
Don't forget about poor sports. We got a movie. Have you checked that out? It's got 2 movies on it.
That lives too. I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of weird that we're in an extraordinarily uncomfortable situation where this lady's walking out, flipping her off, and these 2 down here living in sin, don't even have the same last name, got all these children.
So have we seen Sarah and Taylor before?
No, I
No,
thought so for a second too. They just have
look
that
familiar.
basic look. Yeah, she's
All right.
drinking pumpkin spice everything, and he's.
I was wondering. I knew we haven't seen this case. For some reason they seem a little bit familiar, but I think maybe they're maybe a little cookie cutter.
Yeah.
For
for the protection order against Ms. O'Neill. I'm going to deny that request.
That's one down.
That was quick.
The court can't solve issues of personal animosity, or even if it's not animosity, just
Uncle Mossity.
We're gonna find out in a second, I think.
personal discomfort between people, which appears to me is essentially alleged as to Ms. O'Neill. So I'm going to deny that protection order. Ms. O'Neill, I will say that Mr. Morones and Ms. Parker have made clear they don't want you contacting them, their children, going onto their property, those sorts of things. I would strongly suggest that you comply with that request and have no contact at all with them. If you have complaints about dogs or anything else, deal with the appropriate authorities, not directly with Ms. Parker and Ms. Morones going forward.
Not a problem.
Okay. All right.
Righty tighty.
Ms. O'Neill, you're welcome to stay.
Whatever,
but you
Judge,
have
F
to
off.
matters
That would have been
taken
better,
care of.
Shelley.
Whatever.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for wasting my time.
Aunt Shelley. She's such a pleasure.
Houseman and
Nate?
Mr. Morones.
What's up, Nate? Oh, Miss Houseman is here now.
Go ahead. I'll just remind everybody you're still under oath. So you're speaking as to Ms. Houseman, Mr. Morones. Proceed.
Mr. Honor, there's been ongoing issues past the primary incident that happened it was on October 13th. There was a friend of theirs that we actually had to call the sheriff department. They were following me from Tractor Supply to their, essentially to their house. When the individual arrived at their house, originally Miss Shelley O'Neill came out and was joking and laughing with her because they saw me on the phone, and Jamie came out laughing and joking about the whole incident. When the deputies arrived, they spoke to the individual that was driving, who said that she noticed my vehicle, pulled off to the side of the road, and recorded my vehicle driving by. And it's just been ongoing issues ever since. I can't go outside. If I do, they play music that promotes violence and death to law enforcement almost every time.
A genre?
Home late at night after getting off duty, and they'll come outside, standing out there on the deck watching me. I go to
Now I'm starting to think. I tell you why I'm starting to think.
I know one cop song that I can think of, by the way. So I can't think of any other ones. But
I'm starting to think that we have seen. The only reason why I think that I have seen him before is because I put this up one time of Sheldon Creed. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah, he's got the boyish charm.
Yeah, but I remember we had somebody else on that just. I mean, looked almost spitting to the dude Sheldon Creed.
go to work. They come outside on their deck. They stand there watching me. She'll hold up her phone as if she's recording me also.
I mean, just look in her eyes right now.
Besides the watching and the recording, what specifically does Ms. Houseman do that you believe warrants the protection order from the court?
As I was stating earlier, we've had rocks thrown at us.
Am I breathing?
The other night, we got home for my stepson's birthday, and we saw Ms. Houseman out there with her husband, and within 2 minutes later, there was rocks that was hitting our roof of the house. And our dog was walking with a swollen eye that was out in the front yard.
Oh well, that's pretty bad.
It just seems as escalating. I fear for my safety, and my family's safety, with me being on duty working.
Wow.
Oh, Your Honor, I actually have something more to add.
We could fight about that. I bet you.
If I may. We also received a message from our landlord saying that the day after originally Ms. Houseman was served with a protection order, she contacted her, telling her that she felt unsafe with us there and basically asking her to have us evicted. And we have now issues dealing with our landlord with the contact that Ms. Houseman and Mr. O'Neill have made with her with accusations also.
So their roof of their house is covered in rocks?
Your Honor.
Sure, it wasn't hailing that day.
Maybe.
You describe in your statement, Mr. Maronis, back in August, Ms.
Roll.
Hausman
Bro, what is that?
responding to Ms. Parker.
Oh, Shelley's praying.
Request to have somebody use a different driveway. That she then hopped on an ATV and
I married your fat sister.
I mean, what is
your fat sister.
boy? If anybody wants,
your fat sister.
if anybody wants to do a little captioning here, you could probably put something else in her mouth right now. I wanted to stop and just see if Roll is this like a canvas? I don't know what. Maybe it'll
Checking to see what the hell it is.
Rut Roll.
Rut roll. Go from?
By the way, if they did have a tin roof, that'd be kind of fun chucking rocks on it. Can you imagine how loud that would be?
Oh, it'd be raining down. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's not on the video.
It's not, no, my God, really? Are you right at the? It's at the 9.
Wait a minute. Wait. I found it.
9.
I did find it. I found it.
Is it on there for not?
Yeah,
long?
it's only gonna be on for a minute 30, so you're fine.
Of course,
Whoa!
we have a big ass crowd today, and we give you great shit like this. You're welcome.
Enjoy.
Listen, just stare at Shelly doing things
Shelly things.
other than the roll. Oh, it just went. It just went.
Guys in the truck.
Did you see that?
Lord's work.
I just put my mouse right there and it went away. Was that the guy? The guys in the truck didn't do that. That's some weird anomaly.
sort of doing donuts and
Mm.
driving aggressively.
Donuts.
Is that what happened?
Yes, Your Honor. Sarah was outside doing yard work, and they had individuals Sunday. Sarah asked the individual that was driving up and down the roadway, not even Jamie, to stop using our driveway if they could and use the other driveway. And the individual just said, "Okay, I'm sorry, thank you." Within about 5 minutes, Ms. Hausman came out and was yelling at Sarah, saying, "Who pays for the gravel in the driveway?" and was flipping her off. Then she got into a four-wheeler side-by-side type and was doing donuts in the driveway, drove around to Mr. O'Neill Randy's property and was doing donuts in the pasture right next to our birds, and our children were playing, kicking up rocks at them, and herself and Mr. O'Neill Randy were both sitting there laughing about it after it.
Welcome.
Making great choices, Erica.
Ms. Hausman,
All right.
Your Honor.
Take it to the house.
anything you want to say?
House.
I don't even know where to start. Yes. My friend picked me up on October 13th. It was my husband and I's anniversary, and we were going out to dinner. And I had a few drinks, and I asked my friend to come get me because I wanted to go to the store to Four Corners, which is right down the street. And she picked me up, and by the time we got back, the cops were here. So we weren't standing outside laughing. Literally, we drove in, and the cops pulled in behind us. Mr. Taylor has called my work, spoke with my boss, informed my boss that he was with law enforcement and that I vehicularly assaulted an elderly lady and was under investigation, which did not happen. So he's contacted my work. We do go outside. We go outside probably about every hour. My husband and I are both smokers. We don't smoke in our house. We have a son.
Ew, that's dirty, gross, smelly.
I do have an ATV. Randy O'Neill and I both got one at the same time. I can't get to his house through our field because of his paddocks that he has set up for his horses. I do drive down the gravel road, and they are correct. I do pay for the gravel. I would not do donuts in it because I don't have that type of money to waste. I did do, I guess you wanna call it a donut. I could take you outside and show you where I did it at. It has no rocks. There's no
Can you
gravel
reenact
and
it?
grass.
Yes.
And it was the only open area. And me and Randy were playing.
Bubba.
His ex-girlfriend's father lived at his house as well. And he drove a big semi truck. He delivers cars. And so Randy lets him park it in the front part of the field. And there was only one little field open. It's not an actual horse stall, but it's the only one that was open, and I can drive in there because it's not a fast four-wheeler or anything like that. It's an ATV with a dump trailer, so it's utility. It doesn't really go fast at all. When they called and said that I harassed their children, I work for the school district. It looks very bad saying that I vehicularly assaulted somebody. I do understand that he is considered law enforcement in some way, shape, or form. I think that was a nasty way of using it. Have we gone back and forth with each other? Absolutely.
She's insinuating a little abuse of power, maybe, there with that.
I almost took that as he wasn't like a policeman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's a school resource officer.
Works in the jail, maybe.
Works in the jail, or he works in the courtroom. He's a bailiff or something.
I don't quite think that. Seriously, would a mall cop show up to court with their? That's really ballsy.
No.
That's really ballsy.
But I'm thinking some sort of low level, type work. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, in her mind, low level.
They do play music, and they play it extremely loud, and sometimes I dance to it. My kids dance to it. It's funny. Do I play music at my own house? Yes. I don't know if I have anything that is something against cops. I don't think so. I happen to be friends with a lot of them. The sheriffs that showed up last night explained to me that, yes, this is what they are doing as harassment. And he told me to make sure to let you know that they have done this to me 2 weekends in a row. There was never any problems between us. I didn't really know Taylor. I've talked to Sarah, I believe 3 or 4 times. She has a fascination with birds, and so do I. And I had a chicken that was murked by eagles, and I took a baby over there. And I asked,
what is murked by eagles? Anybody? No, and I think they said loud hip hop or rap, if I'm not mistaken.
She said she does listen to rap music at her house.
Yeah, murked. Anybody? Is that like when they come down and pick it up and fly off?
Murked.
Could you imagine finding out that's exactly what he did? That would be so funny if that was
parking enforcement officer.
Because I knew she had birds if she was interested in taking it for me. My husband has done nothing but be nice to them. My husband's a very quiet guy. I am the more loud, outgoing one. I definitely am.
The hottie, he ain't single.
I'm not at all perfect.
Sorry.
But I would never be cruel to children, and especially animals, since I rehab and rescue animals. I have 9 dogs. I don't have, when it comes to little children and animals, I don't have a mean bone in my body. When it comes to adults, I tend to be a jerk if they're mean to me.
Is that how you measure
and
it?
What started all of this, as you know, Randy and his ex split, and I stuck up for my cousin because he is the only one over there, and we are very close family. We are literally neighbors. We can walk to each other's house. And I changed his diapers when he was little. He's like a brother to me. I don't like him being picked on, and that's what they were doing. And I didn't have a problem saying something. And this is what started all of this. I've never done anything mean to their kids. Their kids were outside playing yesterday. I don't even wave at their little boy anymore when he's sitting out playing on the swing. He waves at me and I can't wave at him anymore. I've never had any disciplinary action towards any children. I worked for a driving school for kids for 10 years before I was a bus driver. You can ask any of my parents. They all love me. My kids love me. I have my bus kids coming over here. I've been taking kids to school because the bus routes are shorthanded, and I've been driving them when I have my time off. So
Private bus.
I've never thrown any rocks. My mom can barely squeeze her hands. She's going in for a bypass tomorrow. She uses a scooter to get around. She tends to have a rotten mouth if somebody hurts my feelings or hurts Randy's feelings. But up until the confrontation at the fence, she had never even spoke to them. Other than that, I don't appreciate the Miss Piggy calls through their cameras. I don't appreciate when they turn on their alarms when they see me in the yard. When I walk out to my car, it faces their house. Other than that, my house faces the street. We have, and this is the other thing, that house used to be mine. And it has a U-shaped driveway. Their landlord and I still use it both. Their landlord was out a couple weeks ago and she used mine. I can't stop the delivery drivers that show up. If it's somebody that I know, I try to say something. They have no problem letting their people use mine. I have no problem with it. I mean, I'm doing my best to keep them off of there, but I just had a vehicle towed away yesterday, or not yesterday. I think it was, Saturday. And I got the cops called on me last night because Randy let me use his car because I'm short a vehicle because I'm letting my sister borrow mine because hers is broke down. And when the tow truck guy came, we made sure to ask him not to use their driveway when he left. Like, I'm doing everything I possibly can to make them happy, but I'm getting the bird, I'm getting awful names called. And, I don't really care at this point. I just prefer them to stay on their own side. They can call the cops on me all they want. The cops just come out and they say, okay, I'm sorry. It's this is what it is. So that's all I have to say, Your Honor.
Get off our property, Miss Piggy.
A protection order against Mr. Morones is based on what you've just told me.
I put a protection order against him because he called my work. And
well, that's dirty. Call it work.
That's it. We
like
hear
you said,
much now.
if he gets a protection order, he knows that ruins my life because I can't work for the school district. If he gets one, he can't do what he's doing either. So to me, it was like, okay, you want to play dirty? I'll play dirty too. But other than that, I had no problem leaving them alone. I have literally nothing against them. I just want them to leave Randy alone. I don't bother their kids. I sure as hell don't bother their animals. I feed their birds. Their birds are over here every day. Their birds are here right now.
What kind of birds they got?
She's talking about chickens and roosters and stuff.
Oh, we call them chickens.
I know. It'd be so much easier. I'm thinking like parakeets and shit flying over her house.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like
calls all in the yard.
In fact, I did call her employer. That was after the argument that happened on that day when she was saying that she was going to get our child kicked off the bus. I called to ask if that was even possible, that she was able to do that. And I didn't even know if it was her supervisor or not because the individual did not confirm whether she was an employee or not. Asked me the situation that happened. I briefly explained it to him, and then he asked me what my work would think if someone called in with something that happened while I wasn't at work. I told him that I would, probably be questioned about it. They'd look into it.
By the way, a bunch of you said that. I kind of usually will say that, like if you add in, but she kind of kept the point, kind of got off track a little bit, but that's usually a telltale sign, though. I always say if you're going on and on about.
I will give her the point that she copped to being a bit of a B word creed.
She did, yeah, she did.
That she isn't putting up with some malarkey, but at the same time she came off
perfect timing, Tiny Piggy.
Pretty good, Tiny Piggy. How are you?
At least Shelly's keeping her mouth shut, though. And I got to give Sarah and Taylor a little bit of credit. Everybody's let everybody speak, which sometimes can be a not a thing in court, with especially when you've got a lot of people going after each other, obviously with some very strong opinions and feelings. So you got to give them a little bit of credit for that.
That's not what I was asking for. He asked me what my line of work was, and I
I'm
told him that.
Sammy, I'm so sorry. Come back later. I don't know what to tell you. There's
Nice.
300 people here, by the way. So just want to point.
Good to see you, Sammy.
Hang in there.
Mwah.
I don't know what to think.
Heather, can you take care of your people?
A police officer. And then at the end of that, he just said, "Thank you for your time." And that was it. About 20 minutes later, I got a call from Thurston County Sheriff Department saying that someone contacted them saying that I was going around making claims that I was a police officer when I wasn't, and that I was trying to arrest people when I'm not a police officer. Ooh. The deputy verified my employment with the JBLM MP desk, including my lieutenant also. Other than that, Your
Is
Honor,
he a desk jockey?
we haven't done more than half the accusations in that.
He threw a little bit out there, but not enough for any of us to make assumptions yet.
I'm sure somebody understood all those letters he said. We did not.
No.
But for people to be making accusations, he was pretending to be a cop and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And
you guys know we're we're okay with cops around here.
Oh, absolutely.
But this dude rubs me the wrong way when he shows up for this type of a thing.
Yeah.
I look at it as almost a bullying technique in a way.
Like, yeah,
I really
it's almost like, not that he's buying the judge's favor, but he kind of is like, "Hey, we're on the same team, pal. Me and you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
at all.
Initial complaint. I personally can attest that I wasn't even home last night until around 2200. I was on shift. Sarah was home. Did you have any contact with the sheriff department or anything?
No, Your Honor, I did not call the cops on them last night. I had nothing.
No, she did not, Your Honor. She absolutely did not. And yes, he was not here last night. And the sheriffs told us it was Tara. And I said Tara was just over at Sarah's house.
Okay,
and
hold on.
The car running.
Real quick. I believe, which we'll find out later on, but give us some clarity right now. I believe that Randy used to date Tara. And we'll find out as time goes on that Tara and her family all lived on Randy's land.
Almost like a family compound.
Right. They broke up and Randy got rid of them. Well, Sarah and Taylor made friends with Tara and her family.
Mm.
So that's kind of a rubbing point, where they're saying that when the cops were called last night to have the car towed, it was Tara when she had went over to Taylor and Sarah's house the night prior. If that makes any sense.
It's a little confusing, but I'm following. I got it. Randy, speak up.
And the only way they could see the car was because of where I parked it. You had to come down the driveway.
Mm.
It's not seen by the road.
Thank you, Double L.
It's our job.
We need to put a smile on that face. We need to turn that frown upside down. Like you did to us with $5. See? I smile. Double L seems a lot nicer now that she's back.
Yeah, maybe she needs to be single all the time.
It might be a thing. She ain't coming after me for nothing.
Yeah.
For me, listening to the two parties here, once again, it's very similar. As I said before, you both are sort of saying the same things about the other one. Ms. Houseman's acknowledging that she doesn't hesitate to intervene and will spout off, I guess is how she might say it. And Mr. Morones indicates that he did call her work. he said in the form of an inquiry as opposed to another purpose.
Thank you, Heather Hansen. And that reminds me, although those are for the main channel, tonight at 5:30 East, right? We got a
Correct.
case channel. It's members only, just so you know.
Go watch some court that we won't watch here.
Yes,
We just won't.
because
Thank you.
we can't.
For both of these matters, I'm going to take the same approach. I'm hearing the very same things. I'm going to not enter either order. Ms. Hausman, you're going to have to keep your tendency to mouth off to yourself as far as it relates to Mr. Morones and Ms. Parker and their children.
Griggsy, to each his own. We'll say that.
So
Okay, then.
comments are only to your family.
She
You
doesn't
don't need to share them with
She's
them.
got that. I think it's the resting bitch face that Sarah has that just bothers me, or just that look on her face since the beginning.
Oh, well, they're both very deadpan and dry.
Yeah, I think that's what does it for me.
Him. Same, Mr. Morones. I don't want to hear about any contact with Ms. Hausman. Both parties are free to call law enforcement, or they're free to make legitimate complaints. But, calling somebody's employer, typically I don't restrict that anyway, but that may be evidence that you're engaging in behaviors that's really intended to harass somebody else. So I would be circumspect about doing something like that. And you both have the right to refile if this continues, but for now I'm going to say I haven't heard enough that convinces me that one party is harassing the other more than
2 down. Can we go 3-0?
vice versa. So,
or 0-3, I guess.
Both parties here need to just leave each other alone. I know you're neighbors and it's hard, but no comments. Neither one of you wants to hear from the other, and so I would ask that you each respect that. If you do,
Pamela,
you have to get the court involved. And in this case, I think that's the best approach, because I really haven't heard anything that would allow me to
be careful. 6 is going to message you, Kathy.
In this case,
yes,
I will.
He's always watching.
O'Neill, tell me why you need a protection order against Mr. Morones.
I do too. He hasn't got his nails at all today.
Mr. Morones has recently become, and Sarah Parker, they've recently become very, very aggressive and confrontational. They moved in about a year ago into that rental property, and I've never had any issues with them. They actually became friends of my ex and her family that lived on my property.
Actually, Mr. O'Neill, yeah, hold on just a second. Let me just check something here before you get going.
He's checking something. I wonder what it is.
Yes, I was just checking to see if you'd been served with a copy of Mr. O'Neill's temporary order, and it appears you have not. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor. I was originally informed by it after I spoke to legal counsel. I contacted the clerk's office, and I was
In a call center, Bill, he's astute. It says it right on his thing. I did 511 thing. It's interesting. They're not in Georgia, though.
Washington.
But I would imagine that carries over to some. I could see, yeah, you could be working at like a 911 center or something, desk job.
Definitely not a police officer.
That order was no longer active, and it had expired, and have not received anything about the order.
That order is still in effect. It would.
Randy, please say hi to Sven. Appreciate that. And we've got 5 more members joining us at 5:30 East on We Got a Case channel. Thank you, Heather Hansen. By the way, Heather, you are on it. November 1st and bloody goes gone. Back to just double H. I like that. See what you did.
Had been extended back on the 17th of October through today's date because the case was not heard.
Tammy!
So,
with some weird money.
you're here.
Thank you.
You have the right to insist on proper service. What that means is we'll deem service as of today, and we would reset this 2 weeks, or you can waive that and we will proceed with the hearing today. So that is your choice since you have not formally been served. So you tell me what you wish to do.
Your Honor, at this time, I would go ahead and waive and just.
Okay. You want to proceed with this matter and get these matters resolved today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good move.
Okay. All right. Mr. O'Neill, you may continue. Go ahead.
The last hearing that we had, I was under the impression that all parties were served with any kind of pending things that needed to be served to people. So now it's
you don't need to, right. You don't need to worry about that now.
Okay.
Mr. Moronis, it's waived service.
So back to what I was saying, there's been no issues with them. They've become good friends of our family and her family. And then I had asked my ex-spouse's family to leave the property as me and my ex were ending our relationship, and Taylor and Sarah had seemed to be taking sides at this point. Like I said before, like they would come over for barbecues, their kids would swim in our pool. I mean, I've even donated my time to helping them with farm chores at their house with animals and stuff because they're mildly like inexperienced with it. So I was honestly confused when
I say that's a humble brag, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we're saying, Taylor's not the most manliest men.
No. Erica, 8 months a member. Thank you for everything. And catatonic, where'd you go? It just jumped on me. There it is. Five Bones. I think I've ever seen that. Howdy, neighbors.
Howdy, neighbors.
Howdy, neighbors.
I had given notice to my ex's family to vacate my property, and
Get the F out.
Taylor had decided to come running out of that house, screaming at me, telling me I need to control Jamie, my cousin Jamie, and calling me all kinds of names. And then after that, it's just been nonstop. I would pass them coming home from work, and they would, just give me looks and flip me off. And then I'd go to Jamie's house, and they would stand outside and scream at me and come to our houses are like opposite of each other. And so it's 5 acres, and my house is at one end and their house is at the other. Sarah and Taylor would intentionally go stand next to where my bedroom is on the fence line and harass me constantly. They've done it more than once. That was the one time that I've called the police on them because I didn't feel comfortable. And the most recent big thing was they my dogs apparently had gotten out somehow or were let out, and they had called animal control and the sheriff's office and threatened to shoot them. And they're just like little puppies, and they're only like 9-month-old puppies, and they don't know any better. So after that, I freaked out and I set up a kennel for the dogs at my barn instead of letting them have free reign of the property. Same as putting cameras up, just watching fence lines and making sure no animals get out. Taylor and Sarah had a big issue with that, telling me I'm illegal and doing all kinds of different stuff. But according to the Washington state law, like I can put cameras on my fence line, not pointed at anybody's house. It was on the fence line. So after that, it's just been nonstop harassment, and like I can't even go to my cousin's house without, like I borrow their little Ranger sometimes to take hay of my horses that I now have boarded because
a Ford
between
and
Taylor
Ranger
and Sarah and my ex,
Nice.
her family and my animals, I don't feel are safe on the property. So now I have to board my horses until all this is said and done, especially with my ex. Like I'd go over there and they would just constantly just scream at us and say that we're mocking them somehow, but it's just I'm in a vehicle laughing and they think that we're talking about them for some reason. I don't understand. I mean, I have enough on my plate, and the last thing I want to do is intentionally start drama with the neighbor.
Yeah, real quick. So far, I think that he.
I'm right there with him because I feel like which is kind of an odd relationship that his ex has got going with these two, that they would be so upset that it's over. I mean, apparently, he wanted it to be over. He wanted them gone. She just can't handle it.
Sorry to look. I'd love selling 2 different Halloween costumes on November 1st.
Oh well.
When I have, a bunch of stuff going on at home. So I know they do have firearms and they've threatened to shoot my dogs, and we share a big fence line, so I don't feel safe and comfortable like without having anything in between us other than just me calling law enforcement, because I don't own any firearms or anything like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Nice, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Morones?
Yes, Your Honor. First off, I'd like to say that the dogs he's referring to are not puppies. They are apparently his mother's dogs, or someone he sees as his mother's, that are over the age of 2. Those dogs did initially get out and kill our livestock. We made complaints to Thurston County Animal Control on that, with video and pictures of them hopping on.
So dogs killed the livestock. They must be some great dogs, huh?
I mean, they must be monster dogs.
I
mean, that does happen, but that's just another nail in the coffin with this neighbor friendship.
That's a good point. Jonathan, yeah, I got some of that. You're welcome. And thank you for 3 months.
Your patronage is
And
enjoyed.
in the initial complaint that we filed against Mr. O'Neill for a protection order, there's also a screenshot with a message from Deputy Leishman, who responded 2 times that day, saying that at no point did anyone say that they were going to shoot any animals. But Deputy Leishman explained to him that if his dogs are acting aggressive or killing livestock on another person's property, the owner would be able to do that for safety. Deputy Leishman came out the second time that day because Mr. O'Neill stuck a camera up on a tree, and I was standing on the deck and asked him to show me where the camera was pointing.
Gotta be right. When he talks about livestock, he's talking about the chickens, not
I'm guessing chickens, the birds.
But when he says that they killed my livestock, I instantly, of course, think like cows and goats and things
cows,
like
goats, sheep.
But I mean, they are livestock. Rabbits,
maybe they got ducks or something too.
Quack, quack.
And he said he didn't trust us, that he was going to surveil us. Deputy Leishman observed where the camera was pointed, walked over there and told him that he would have to remove the camera since it was directly pointing into our living room and kitchen of our house, and that would possibly constitute voyeurism if he did not. We have no issues with him putting up cameras.
Voyage?
You're right to do that. The issue was when he put up a camera facing directly into our house.
Well, okay, that's listen, you got a camera going into somebody's house. It's one thing, but on property, obviously they're completely entitled to that.
I'm wondering though. I mean, he's making these neighbors that's a great movie. He's making a lot of valid points about trying to watch the fence line and things like that. But you're at the point now, where does that stop? He's now making accusations of, it's pointed inside our house. And remember, these people live like right up against each other. A lot of land, I believe, involved here.
Also have had no issues with him up until this point. That is correct, as he stated. But our involvement in their relationship is not to do with any of this. We are not in any shape or form involved in their relationship, or frankly care about their relationship. That is them. That is not our duty to worry about or complain about.
Duty.
After they contacted our landlord also, it has just gotten worse. At this point, Mr. O'Neill, as far as I know, isn't even allowed to be on his property. He has to be 1,000 feet away from it due to another protection order that is in place with another party.
Ooh. Didn't know that.
But also, after this, went around the neighborhood and rallying them up to say that I'm going to go on their property and shoot their dogs. We also have other statements from other individuals that have heard him say that we added into the complaint against him, stating that he wouldn't be surprised if I was to shoot their dog and drag it onto our property. The last thing I'd want to do is harm an animal, Your Honor. I've been involved in law enforcement since I was 14 years old, in between police explorers and being a federal officer. The last thing I would do would do anything to threaten with a weapon or brandish or even let anyone know that I have weapons with my line of work, Your Honor.
In your petition, you'd indicated that in a conversation, using that word loosely, you were having with Mr. O'Neill that you thought you saw him patting a knife that was on his leg. Is that describe that point?
The conversation that happened where his dogs were out earlier in the day, I saw Mr. O'Neill on the backside of Jamie's property, and I was yelling at his dogs to get away from the fence line because they just charged it and were growling at Sarah and our young 2-year-old daughter. And I yelled at them to go away. Randy was up on top of a trailer, and he was looking over and saw the whole thing. And I yelled at him that his dogs were out so he could try to hear me. I then walked away and kept grilling on our barbecue. Mr. O'Neill walked towards the fence, and I walked over there and told him that, hey, your dogs were out. Do you mind keeping them contained? He looked at me as I was crazy, and I said it again. And then his reply was, no, I heard you. I just don't care. And I asked him if he cared that his dogs were out. And he goes, no, I don't care. We used to own all his property. They can do or go wherever they want. This whole time, he had his hand on his right side, and it was partially concealing a pocket knife that was visible from his pant line sticking out of his pocket. I did contact the sheriff department that day, explained to him the situation, that I felt like I was threatened, because when he turned around and walked away, it sounded to the effect of, you're going to regret, so I'm going to keep my dogs contained. And the sheriff department contacted him also.
Got a link?
He stated that everything was fine. He wasn't afraid of me. There was no issues, and that he just wanted to get on through with everything and be left alone.
Is that why the horses are on property?
All right, real quick, let's stop right there. We've never heard that. I mean, you hear about people like patting their, like a pew they've got on their side.
That's what I thought, not a pocket dog.
I've never heard somebody like pat, and that he could see I could see the outline of the weapon in his pants. I could see it.
I usually just carry a spork.
You see this knife? I mean, he didn't pull it out. He's patting it. I mean, if he patted his junk, would we be assuming he meant like he was going to do something very bad?
Well, let's not forget they kind of sort of live on a damn farm. I mean, that's
of course he's got. Most country boys do got a pocket knife.
I would imagine so. But I guess I don't know if I'd feel threatened by that, to be honest with you. Even if I was in
What are you
with my
patting
neighbor
over there? Are you offering me lovin's? Or what you got there in your pocket, pal?
Anything else?
Yeah, it could be.
Yes, Your Honor. To be frank with you, I'm lucky to remember to carry my phone with me, let alone a knife. I don't ever carry anything like that. The only reason for me to have any kind of knife is to open up a bale of hay inside my barn. So I don't understand what Mr. Morones is talking about. And as far as the issues that we've had, they are not a part of my separation with my ex, but they definitely have been picking apart every little thing that's ever happened ever since I had given notices to vacate to all the people that they're friends with. Even after they had served no contact orders to me, they still felt privileged enough to come onto my property and hang out with everybody there. Then it made me feel really uncomfortable, or hang out at the fence line like 15 feet away from my bedroom window, and then still continue to talk and say all kinds of things to me. And as far as like my dogs go, I do have my mom's 2 dogs, but I've had my mom's 2 dogs off and on for the past year, and them and their kids come over and they would throw the Frisbee and throw, like, I don't understand why they think that my mom's dogs were any kind of aggressive. I had submitted some stuff to the courts and I never got a confirmation email about it, but I have text proof of a conversation me and Taylor had about their big white dog mauling chickens in their barn. And And I had told him like they're
All right, so that's the livestock he was talking about. Eka. Thank you. 5-0. Thank you.
The chicken mauler.
Chicken baller. Chicken.
Thank you for the 5 pounds.
Thank you. Why not? I'm down. I want goats too.
No, you don't.
dogs in there killing animals, and he just blew it off like it was no big deal. So that was concerning to me, and that's what made me feel uncomfortable having horses and dogs in the property. I did put a camera up on the fence line, but that's right where they had their birds. And at that point, I wasn't going to allow my dogs out to free run around just in case they do get out. But I did that just for my own, to back my own up, because I honestly don't trust them. And if any of their birds were to be killed, say coyotes or eagles, which we do have in the area, then I don't want my dogs pinned for it. So that's why I put up the camera. I had talked to the sheriff, and he's like, I'm not telling you have to move the camera. It's not doing anything illegal, but they can say that you're trying to spy on them if it's pointed at near their house. And so I chose to move it where it was faced the property line better and not towards their house as a respect thing. That's all I got.
Judge? Oh,
Your
he
Honor,
took
I have
his.
something I'd like to add, rebuttal to.
No,
statement
shut
that Mr. O'Neill
up.
made.
We're done.
There comes Taylor back.
We have not had any contact with Mr. O'Neill since he was served. He was served the same day that he was also served a second protection order, where he hasn't been able to
Served
be at the
time?
property.
Not yet.
I have never had a text message with Mr. O'Neill because I've never had his number. So I would, at this point, say that is just false or conjecture at this point, since there is no actual evidence of that, or the fact that I've never had his number.
Big words.
Your Honor, I'd like to add to that.
Oh, good luck, Simon.
I don't think I said anything that said I was texting you or
Simone.
Sarah. I don't have your guys' contact information. I told you guys that you cannot come on my property when you stand at the fence line and tell me to fuck off. So that's the only time we ever talk is in person, or you're just screaming at me from your house. And yes, there is allegations against me right now with my ex. So I am not at the property, but we have a hearing this Friday to get all that settled.
Okay, so I'm guessing some DV stuff, maybe.
That's
allegedly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting from that.
Either that or stalking, perhaps. I don't know.
It's crazy the amount of info that everybody's throwing out, but I think that there's a whole lot more to this.
Oh, so much more.
A lot more. I don't know. Angela, she started like this, and then the judge told her to move it, and now she's back to just the chin cam.
I mean, it's her OnlyFans cam.
I hope we go 0 for 3 today.
Oh, she's going to speak.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. He's referring to I think it was on September 24th or 25th, when I was standing on my property talking to his ex's mom. It was just asking how she's doing. She has COPD, so she's having a hard time breathing. He intentionally got out of the truck and stomped over and was being aggressive. And I asked him, can you please go back to your truck? Because I'm talking to Bonnie. And I'm assuming that's the situation he's talking about when I'm like 15 feet from his bedroom. Otherwise, I don't really use that property. And to continue on about my Great Pyrenees, she's actually a livestock guardian dog. She's never killed any of my birds. She actually goes into the coop to steal their eggs. His dogs, or his mother's dogs, they have gotten out. They have killed a guinea. I've had to rehab a couple chickens because they broke its legs. Other than that,
chicken and cast.
I don't know if
crutches,
these allegations are based
walkers.
on, as far as the facts that I have in the statements as well.
Sorry, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Morones, Mr. O'Neill indicated in his petition that you called his work. Did you do that?
Oh my God.
No, Your Honor. I didn't even know that Mr. O'Neill was employed again. I was currently trying to help him get employment before all this happened. He was laid off from his previous employer. I did not know that he was actually actively employed. So no, that did not happen, Your Honor.
Funny that you guys brought this up because Nicole just said with the cheetah, different things that you've lived around. I've talked about this before, but my condo in Myrtle, that's just outside of city limits of Myrtle Beach, is where the dude from the Netflix, what was his name? Doc Antler or whatever, Doc Adler.
Yeah, Adler.
Remember that had that? Anyways, one street over, not a humble brag. It was very weird listening to those noises late at night. I lived there for quite a few years until I realized it, and then I put two and two together when Rob and Big were there. Rob was riding the elephant out in the intercoastal. You remember that?
Yeah.
Anyways, the sounds at night were nothing ever got out though, so I suppose that's a good thing.
Great thing.
Your Honor, I'd like to add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Your Honor,
in
tell
the
him to
union,
shut
I'm a
up.
carpenter, and my foreman's actually told me somebody's called from a blocked number saying that they're looking for me, and then just would hang up randomly at the same time all of this stuff was going down. And then I've also received some pretty unfortunate text messages from a random number. I don't know how to pin it to anybody, but it comes with the same timeline and the same amount of stuff that Taylor has said to me in person. So I can't pin it that it's actually him, but it's just conveniently at the same time all of this was going down.
Okay, so your suspicion was that it was Mr. Morones?
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, but Randy's got a lot of enemies, it seems.
Okay, so Mr. Morones, I'm a little unclear. Mr. O'Neill's property is immediately adjacent to yours, or Ms. Houseman's immediately adjacent to yours, or Ms. O'Neill's property is immediately adjacent to yours, or all of them are?
All of them are, Your Honor. Miss O'Neill and Miss Houseman live immediately adjacent to us in front of our driveway. Mr. O'Neill's property is immediately across from us, and our properties butt up next to each other.
Okay, all right.
We share a fence line.
Surrounded on all sides.
As to the cross petitions regarding Mr. Morones, Ms. Parker, and Mr. O'Neill, I'm going to deny Mr. O'Neill's request for protection orders the allegation that that Mr. Morones threatened to shoot Mr. O'Neill's dogs. It sounds like it may have come up in conversation about the right to do something. I don't take it so far as that there was a threat to shoot the dogs.
Denied.
Backed up by the deputy's statement that he provided. And the allegation of contacting the workplace in and of itself isn't sufficient for me to enter an order. So I'll deny Mr. O'Neill's request for an order. Mr. Morones' request for an order against Mr. O'Neill, I'm going to grant. And just as I said at the beginning, you all are saying very much the same things. I could have taken the statements, just changed the names, and it'd still say essentially the same thing. You're all saying the same thing about each other. But the one discerning difference for me in this matter is the indication from Mr. Morones that Mr. O'Neill was impliedly threatening Mr. Morones by patting a knife that was in his side pocket. Mr. O'Neill denies that.
Absolutely not.
I'm going to enter an order based on the concern that may have happened.
Wow.
Sufficient in this case.
Oh, wow. How? The knife patent. I know Creed's shook to his core. So much so that he's decided it's time for a Creed frame. I can't believe that. They shot down Randy's, but gave Taylor the last one, his last opportunity to get one. He got it.
I had to leave for a second.
I saw it. You were shook. You were shook. Oh, wow. Everything.
I
right
didn't see
there.
that. I didn't see that coming.
Again, Sarah and Taylor emotionless after the verdict.
I'd be hooting and hollering right now. I'd be.
Yeah, I mean, something, anything. Oh, wow.
On that tiniest little, just the
padding of the knife that
You know,
we didn't
Chris-
see. It was in his pocket, though.
a pocket knife in his pocket. Yes.
Yes.
Chris, I'll tell you, there's a slight once in a while he throws us a curveball. That one's a big curveball, especially when he gets the first two right. We kind of bang through them pretty quick, and then we come to this one.
And then he's like, Randy, yeah, you're not getting one, but we're going to give you one against Randy. Didn't give you one against any of the other two, but Randy, you're getting one.
The state of Washington.
Wow.
Once again, the communication process is broken down.
That's absolutely crazy. You know what else is crazy is our huge ass crowd today. 370 plus of you the entire time, which is awesome.
Fantastic. We appreciate that, guys.
You guys are invited back 405 East for We Gotta Chase. If you like crimes and stuff and chases and wild wormans.
And laughing and hanging out with your friends. Today is Wild Woman Wednesday. So trigger warnings will be given at the door. So make sure you're here for that. 405, about 2 hours from now, in case you can't tell time or you're living in another part of the world. Wow.
And then we'll be back up 5:30 East on We Got a Case channel, exclusively for members only. I seriously, perfect timing for that Creed frame, by the way.
It was right on time, right with the verdict.
I'm shocked. And then he was starting. Did it not sound when he first started going into his ending there that it sounded like that was going to be 0-3?
Yeah, it was like a wash. Nobody gets nothing. Behave yourselves.
And then all of a sudden, I'm going to grant it. Damn.
I didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't either. All right. The November 1 Express. It's all Christmas from here on out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double L, welcome back. Appreciate you. Sorry for your
loss.
Nancy, thank you. Griggsy, Erica, welcome. Double L, the Smile Fund. Heather with 5 big gifts. Flusha, 5 more from Heather. Tammy, Catatonic. Jay in Michigan.
You guys do us a favor. Like it. Go ahead and just like it right now. If you would do us that favor of liking the video, it helps us out so much. Subscribe wherever you're watching. That also helps. If you're gonna, a lot of people were saying, Mikey, I'm not getting notifications anymore. Try unsubscribing, resubscribing, and make sure you have all your notifications turned on, not just some, all of them turned on.
You could join our Discord too.
That helps as well.
It's pretty good. And if nothing else, just remember 1 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday, we're on, and 405 East. But you might miss a live one here and there, like Creed did last night, because he went to bed at 7 o'clock to take a nap and didn't wake up till 1:30.
There's always a rich guy taking us to the Beverly Hills Police Department to turn himself in. After a scuffle at the Chick-fil-A.
Nobody fights at the
in his Tesla. Oh, all right, guys. You stay safe, you stay hard, and you stay tuned, because you never know. Leave a comment. Top guy.